While looking through the spoilers for Karlov Manor, this uncommon immediately caught my eye, as it did for many people, and I've been wanting to make a video about it for the past few days. And the title of this video might seem a little bit like clickbait, but it's not, because this card is absolutely busted. And it's just an uncommon. This card, there's lots of text on it here, but all of these words might as well just say Combo Enabler, because this has Combo Enabler written all over it. And it's kind of funny because, to my knowledge anyway, there aren't actually any just straight up 2-card combos with this card at the moment, but despite that, this has so much power and potential packed into it. So this is an uncommon, it's 3 mana, 2 in a red, it's called Crime Novelist, it's a 1/3 Goblin Bard. It's very simple though. What it does is it says when you sacrifice an artifact, you put a +1/+1 counter on this, and you add a red. So sacrificing an artifact is something that happens a lot nowadays in Magic. You know, there are artifacts like this that tend to appear in most games at this point. So even outside of combos, this is kind of just an insane value card. But the main card that people have been talking about pairing this card with is this one right here, Animation Module. And it does work very well. This is almost a 2-card combo, but it's not quite, because you need a sack outlet for something to be able to sacrifice your artifacts repeatedly. What Animation Module does though, it's a 1-mana artifact. It says, whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are placed on a permanent you control, you can pay 1. If you do, you make a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. It also has this other ability, which isn't so relevant for this interaction, but you can pay 3 and tap this, choose a counter on target permanent or player, give that permanent or player another counter of that kind. Basically though, how these would work is, say you have some artifact in play, maybe it's a treasure or something. You sacrifice this, that will trigger this thing, which is going to get you a red mana and put a counter on this. And when you put a counter on this, that's going to trigger this thing. So that means you can pay 1 and make a 1/1 servo. You have the 1 because this just gave it to you, so now you have a servo. So now if you have a sacrifice outlet, anything, like, you know, you could pair it with, say, Ashnod's Altar, or Phyrexian Altar, or Krark Clan Ironworks, or anything like that. Then you can go infinite with these, because then you can use that to sacrifice this, that's going to trigger this, which is going to trigger this, and you just repeat that until, you know, you have this infinitely large, and if you're using something like Krark Clan or Ashnod's or whatever, then you have infinite mana now as well. That's the main kind of combo-y type of thing people are going to immediately with this, which is pretty cool, but there's much more that you can do with this card as well. One thing that I like is the interaction with this new Krenko here out of the same set of this card, so this will be in standard. These work quite well together, because Krenko here says you can tap it and sacrifice an artifact to put a +1/+1 counter on each goblin you control, and these are both goblins. But what's cool is that it has this other ability. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you can pay a red. If you do, you make a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It gains haste until end of turn. Well, that works really well with this, because it says when you sacrifice an artifact, you put a counter on this and you get a red. So when you sacrifice an artifact, this is going to give you the red, which is going to allow you to pay for the ability of this, which triggers when an artifact is put into the graveyard. So you could make an infinite combo with these outside of standard if you're able to find a way to, say, make these goblins into artifacts or something like that. You could pair it with some other cards, and that could be cool. But I like how this is just a really cool, you know, value type of engine that you can play in standard. You could pair it with something like Oni Cult Anvil in standard as well, which wants you to be sacrificing artifacts, so that works quite well with Crime Novelist. Or what about, say, this card right here, Dockside Chef? You can pay 1 and a black to sacrifice an artifact or creature or draw a card. Well, now you basically only have to pay 1 mana, because this is going to get you a red as well. Or something as simple as Tinker's Tote, which, if you have a free sacrifice outlet, is basically just 3 free counters on your Crime Novelist, because you would pay 3, play this, that gets you 3 artifacts, because this gives you 2 gnomes plus this artifact. If you're able to sacrifice these, this is going to give you a red for each one you sacrifice, so you've paid basically 0 mana to put this into play and get some counters on your Crime Novelist. And there even is a free sacrifice outlet in standard right now with Bartolome here. It's getting into 3 colors there though, but it is still something that has potential there. So I really like the idea of playing this as just kind of like a value card in standard. Even if you're just playing it alongside just having treasures, this is basically a 3 mana card that gives you, you know, the 3rd, or I guess the 4th ability of Goldspan Dragon here, doubling the amount of mana that your treasures make. And going back into other formats, you could play it as a value card alongside other things like Arcbound Ravager maybe. This goes in decks that really want you to sacrifice artifacts. You play it with cards like Ichor Wellspring here. That seems pretty good, right? You play this, you draw a card, you sacrifice it, you draw a card, you get a mana, you put a counter on your thing. I feel like there's some way to loop that and go infinite, maybe with like a Scrap Trawler or something. Or just imagine this. What if you're playing a Magda deck in Commander, and you have 5 treasures, and you sacrifice those to go tutor basically anything out of your deck? Well, now you also have 5 mana, and you have at minimum a 6/8 crime novelist, so that seems pretty good too. So this is, very much a combo enabler, but like I said, what I really like about this as well is that it's just a good value card because sacrificing artifacts happens so frequently now with all of the different type of tokens we have and things like that. And I like the simplicity of this card too. There's not that much text on it. There's just, 2 and a little bit, 2 lines and this add a red here. It's a very simple card. And also, in case you're wondering why this one I have looks so weird, it's because this is just a printout that I've made for the sake of this video. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. I think this card is really cool, especially as an uncommon. It's one that a lot of people have picked out to be, a very powerful uncommon from the set. And I feel like there's so much potential in here, a lot of stuff that I haven't even thought of yet. But let me know, what do you think of this? Is there any kind of card that you would pair it with that I didn't mention? Any particular commander decks or anything like that you might want to slot this into? But anyway though, if you're still watching, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'd encourage everyone to come join my Discord server. You can find a link to that in the video description below. And also, if you'd like to purchase any Magic cards, I do have an affiliate link for tcgplayer.com. You can find that in the video description below as well, and you can help out the channel by following that affiliate link to go to TCG Player when you want to make any of your purchases. Also, I'd just like to take a moment to thank all the patrons that support me on Patreon. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.